Why? Because there's no foundation in their life. They may have temporarily what they want, but they don't have what God promised them. Not that wealth is a sin. It's not. And God certainly can allow and there are people in each of those walks of life that I mentioned. I'm sure that there are those that have trusted Christ their Lord and Savior and are living for Him, at least in two of those. One that'd be probably pretty difficult. It's difficult in all three. But yeah, certainly there are people in all walks of life that God has called and that they have responded and repented and trusted Him as their Lord and Savior. But yet often we see many who, like Esau, deliberately forsake the blessing of God. They go their own way instead of turning to Him, instead of turning and trusting Him as their Lord and Savior. Are you in that group this morning? Thirdly, not only did he definitely embrace pagan influences, not only did he deliberately forsake the blessing, thirdly, he willingly developed a greater affinity with unbelievers than with God's people. Instead of choosing close proximity with his brother, he chose closer proximity with a group of pagans, with a group of pagans called the Horites. He had a friendly, peaceful coexistence at first with them, but yet had no spiritual growth whatsoever. Fourthly, he stubbornly resisted the stated plan of God. He refused to serve his brother, and we can understand that on a human level, maybe. But yet, he willingly rejected God's plan. That is a scary position to be in, and I've been there myself. And I pray you are never there. But I've seen it many, many times, where God has a specific plan. I'll give you a for instance of something that happened away from here. Because I would never, ever, ever, if somebody comes to me in confidence, I would never, ever betray that. I just don't do that. But years ago, I remember sitting across the table from a couple. And you had a husband and a wife who were a mess. And the husband was unsaved. The wife was a believer, and they were struggling. And it was long story short, the husband trusted Christ and got saved. And he became a good husband. But he became a believer that was very, very solid. And his sole desire was to give God the honor and glory to every part of his life. His sole desire was to live to please the Lord with every part of his life. Well, his wife had been a believer, but she didn't really want to follow the Lord that closely before her husband did. When they came back in, they were the struggles that they were having was she didn't want a husband. When she first came, she said, I wanted a husband that was treating me right and was a basically good guy. I didn't want a fanatic. And this man wasn't a fanatic in the sense of the term that you would think. He was just a believer that was generally sold out to the Lord, that was putting God first in every area of his life, and was trying to do so in their home, and she didn't want that.